is that AJ?
It is, and it's time for another brain dump today. Obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail for this video, we're gonna be talking about Toy Story 5. I went and saw that joint yesterday, and I'll just start off by saying this, bro. It got a round of applause at the end. Now, I don't know how many movies y'all go to that get round of applause at the end of them, but I feel like that still means something, you know. And you know, fifth installment of a classic franchise, with, you know, this being the second generation kind of, you know, Toy Story. There's a lot of nostalgia. There's also a lot of just like people and the kids, honestly, you know, fall in love with the toys all over again. And it's cool to see like people's excitement still be so high for something like this. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk about as far as like a brain dump goes for today was more so like, I as grown as I am at this point, still watching you know, Toy Story, right? The thing that I admired the most about this film was playtime. Now, hear me out. There's always been playtime, but the art style behind it has changed into like a little bit more whimsical and just like Crayola type of vibe, where it's like, you know, with Pixar, it's all about the quality of the animation. Like everything looks so crispy as always, but when you're in play mode, everything gets turned up a notch. Now, I don't know if it's like a deliberate choice because of Bonnie's just like imagination, or you know what, but playtime now, like as far as like the stories that they're telling, it was just like a fun thing that I was like, yo, like I wish there was more of that in previous Toy Stories. Now, obviously, like there hasn't been a situation where this is like our second kid technically, right? But you also had a situation where we were in the daycare, you know, and then obviously with Andy. So, you know, multi generations of kids happening here, but it's still playtime, you know. And that was like one of my favorite things about it. Now, I also enjoyed that the fact that of like, you get to really see, if you really think about Toy Story, you really get to see the growth of like them kind of passing the torch, but always finding a way to still make not only Buzz, but, you know, Woody still relevant as always, but still him, you know, kind of aging a little bit, if you will. They made that a clear point of like just, you know, realizing like how these toys have actually aged and you know, been played with and stuff like that, to the point where, you know, Woody got a bald spot, bruh, which is hilarious. And it was like, you know, need to get some brown marker to cover that up. But you know, with Woody passing the torch to Jesse, and now Jesse being the leader of the toys and making sure that their kid, aka Bonnie, makes friends, has a good time, enjoys her childhood as much as they can. I enjoyed the thought process behind that decision, but I also like the, you know, different storylines that are happening at this point. I'm not going to tell you exactly, you know, because the movie's still fresh, right? I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened, but the budding storyline between Buzz and Jesse, there's always been that chemistry type of thing there, and that still reigns true in this movie. And I think for me, the thing that I always wonder about Toy Story is just like the level of world building that happens, but just kind of understanding like, you know, how strong, like that's what I be thinking about when these toys be happening, because like what they choose to animate, or what they choose to make sentient, and what they don't choose to make sentient is, it always baffles me, because it's just like they can open, you know, they can open a door, or they can open a window or whatever, but they wouldn't be able to lift something like simple. They can't push the door open, you know, when there's a pig in front of it, but they can do all these other things that like feasibly you should not be able to do. But it's just fun to think about that without it like ruining the whimsy of it still just being a Toy Story movie. You know what I'm saying? I also enjoyed the, I guess you could call it like, I don't know what the actual film term is for it, but like the third storyline where actually it's the opening of the movie, and it's a bunch of Buzz Lightyears, you know, basically doing Buzz Lightyear things, right? Because I always love seeing Buzz like first integrated with the world again. Obviously, it's not the Buzz we know and love, but because this is like, you know, a movie about devices and like iPads and like, you know, screen time, they're like a more updated version of it. And it's just always funny to watch how they integrate with the world, and then just see them slowly but surely become toys again. So that's always a good watch. And then honestly, the only other thing that like really stuck out about the movie was just the level of care, bro, that Jessie has for Bonnie, and like just her whole storyline of like, yo, this is her third kid, and we get to see more of her backstory, and just to see her growth of learning to accept, you know, devices for what they are, as long as it like, you know, falls still within her worldview of like what needs to happen to make Bonnie happy, or help her grow up. But it was just interesting seeing that polarization type of thing of like, you got this old quote unquote rag doll, and then you got this iPad called Lily, you know, that can do a whole bunch of things to help with, you know, Bonnie's development. And then it's like, you know, you see how much screen time really has an effect. Now, I don't know if this is going to make a world of change after the parents, you know, see this movie, because it was never really that they were saying like screen time is bad or anything per se, but it's just like, you know, too much of any good thing, you know, could be bad. So yeah, man, it's more of that than anything else. Not like the greatest Toy Story movie I've ever seen. I still gave it a solid like 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not terrible, but like I said, it did give it a round of applause. So I'm curious to see how y'all feeling about Toy Story right now. And yeah, like, would y'all run it back? Let me know.